Thanks for having me.
To Fitness Franchise Business Secrets.
I love it.
It's still a mouthful.
It is. It sure is.
So, depending on when this airs, we're going to pretend like we didn't just film an episode.
This is my favorite shirt. I wear this shirt every day.
We just came in, ironically, same outfits and ready to go.
I love it.
So, I had you on for an earlier episode,
Mm-hmm.
and we were really getting into your story a little bit, your passion, and a topic came up about leadership, and I just didn't want to go so deep into it because I think it's so important. So setting aside this as a time for us to just speak to that.
Mm-hmm.
In the last podcast, if you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to it. We talk a little more about strategy, big picture, motivation, passion, but there's an application to that, right?
Sure.
Like you can't, Abbie is amazing, but you could not have done what you did by yourself.
No.
Whether it's support from our team or you leading your team. And I really want to get more into that because technically I'm your leader, and so leading someone and then you lead others and figuring out that trickle down effect and how important it is to get buy-in, right? So we as a company have some skeletons in our closet, right? I mean, I think everyone does, and everybody's not willing to admit it, right? We have done a lot of things wrong. I think what we've done right is be authentic about the things that we've done wrong. Absolutely. And I think that's why we keep people here for years. I mean, 12 plus years. I've been here 13 years. And just being able to constantly say, hey, that was a bad decision. I'm so sorry. Has kept people here versus saying, oh, we were right when we did that.
Right.
But one of the things I'm most proud of is I believe in the last 4 years hasn't been perfect, but I do believe in the systems and processes that we have in place. In fact, there's a couple of key team members that I go to every year and say, should I change the bonus structure? Should I change the pay structure? And they recoil with like, nope, leave it as, nope, please. It's the best it's ever been.
Yeah.
And they're not always getting their bonus. We don't always hit goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it gives them this sense of unity that I don't believe our business always had. So, with that said, I would like to get into, now that we have this unified goal, big picture, we break it down into smaller picture, into gems, and then you, in a management position, would take your personal piece of that pie, and how do you lead internally with that?
Yeah.
What do you do to rally your troops?
Yeah, so having a goal is great because it kind of gives us clear direction on where we want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you look at your teams and you, let's say for example, you look at them and you're like, all right guys, this month our goal is $70,000. You're going to get a lot of blank stares of like, okay, and what, right? So it's important to establish the goal. It's important to also establish why we want to hit that goal, but also kind of create a little bit of a roadmap on how we're going to get there, right? Because if you give this astronomical, scary goal,
deer in headlights,
right, without any type of, okay, what exactly are we going to do to get there, then it's almost like you're in the dark, right? And that's not any place anybody wants to be. So let's say, for example, you have your gym and it's $70,000 is the goal. You know that, 50 to 55 of it could be from memberships, renewals, whatever that might be. You want to reoccurring revenue, your EFT. And then you also have maybe 5,000 to 7,000 worth of product sales. And then the remainder, you have kind of like your deficit, right? So you have the money, like the money that you can anticipate coming in, and then what's kind of left over. So if you know that, you've got a $6,000 to $8,000 kind of middle ground between, new sales or maybe apparel or anything like that, which normally goes into your products, but kind of unforeseen income, right? Like what are we going to do? How are we going to grind to get there? Upgrades, things of that nature. So I think it's really important when you sit down at the beginning of the month with your team to say, this is the goal. Like literally write it down. This is how we're going to get there. We need 10 upgrades. We need 10 new clients. We need this many in this program, this many in another program. So make sure that you're getting really granular with the goal and make sure that your team has clear vision, and don't just say it on the first, right? So like you have your weekly team meetings, say, make sure that you're consistent in your updates on your progress and things of that nature to make sure that the team has in mind, this is what we're chipping away at and this is what we're going to be doing. So
tell me, you always hear the quote, right? Or maybe you don't, but that You shouldn't have to motivate people. You should hire motivated people. But in an industry where, not but, let's call it and in an industry where we hire for character and personality in a coach role, I mean, still skills, assets, background, hard work, all the things. But character and personality is really important, right? And they're busy, right? And we want their energy to be mostly spent on taking care of our clients. So in that accountability aspect, which could have a bad term, is so important because, like you said, if you just say it on the first, it's just gone. Not out of disrespect.
Yeah.
So how do you, on a daily basis, tie it back to them winning? So you've asked someone to upgrade 10 people. You've made them make a specific list. How is it that when they start falling behind or whatever that looks like, that you take that and really use that and invest that as motivation, but really more of a reminder because they're motivated?
Yeah. I think I came to you one time and I was frustrated with my team. Shout out to my Homewood
whatever.
team. And I was just like, Karen, like how many times do I need to remind? How many times do I need to remind that we have a t-shirt for sale and that we're trying to get t-shirts? And I think you said it to me in a way that was like, Abby, that's your job. Like, sorry that your team is, forgetful or whatever it might be, but like, that is your job. You are the chief reminding officer, right? And there's, rather than being frustrated about that, embrace it, right? Because like you said, your team's busy. They're on the floor. They're the face, right? Like they are out there grinding, and I can either sit back in my office and be mad that we've forgotten to ask for t-shirts, or I can just remind them because this is a team sport, and I can embrace my role, which is reminding them, not testing them, right?
No, that's a great point.
Yeah, I don't want to test them. I don't want to watch them fail and say,
Addie, that's good.
Hey, I asked for 10 upgrades this week. You came to me with only 8, and I didn't remind you a single time. That's my fault. That's not the coach's fault. So embracing the role as I am the leader, but I'm also here. I'm under that. I'm under you in a sense of I've got to remind you. And I'm going to embrace that challenge and not let it frustrate me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's good. That reminds me of, I won't bring it up, I won't bring it where, but gosh, it was painful to hear a story where someone was onboarded, and I heard the person on, this was within our brand, and everything's my fault, but I remember hearing them say, well, I was just waiting to watch them fail, and then I could correct. And I'm like, no. So I think sometimes we try to test people to make them stronger, but who wins in that? Yeah,
that's just a frustrating process for both parties. So I know that if you were to ask the teams that I've worked with, they can probably joke that I might be a little OCD, or that I like for things to be perfect, and we could go all day about that, but it's more so of like, no, I just really want all of us to win, right? And if I can set aside my pride of I'm the leader, I asked you to do something and I expect for it to be done. Okay, that's cool. You can sit there and you can have that type of that pride that you can sit with. Nothing's going to get done, right? So I think it was coming to you that one time and just being like, it was that really eye-opening experience of, well, that's kind of my job. So am I going to be frustrated about doing my job, or am I just going to go to battle with my team and help them win? So I think it was embracing the role of reminding. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. You remind your kid, well, not Cooper yet,
right?
But
I'm going to
remind her often. So that makes me want to go in 2 totally different directions. Okay. So bear with me.
Yeah.
So one is on the side of the skeptic in me sometimes, or if I were listening to this podcast, how would I just receive that advice you gave? And the skeptic in me thinks, at what point then do you decide to fire someone who's not doing what you ask of them, versus you telling yourself, no, I got to keep reminding them, and you become the martyr to that system.
Yeah.
Where is that, where do you judge the character and the skill set of the team member versus what it is your job to remind. So where does that line get drawn?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's balance in everything. I definitely don't want to be taken advantage of by any means. I think if you ask my teams, that would be the last thing.
I completely agree.
Right.
But someone out there right now,
absolutely.
They don't know your team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, like I said, there's balance in everything. And also being present in your gym. Be present in your gym. If you're looking and let's just take this scenario, for example, that I've asked a coach to ask after every single class for t-shirts, right? And I'm on the floor, or I look and there's, Sally Sue's on the bike. They're trying to get classes switched over. It's a madhouse. It's crazy. And all of a sudden I look and it's come to the last minute and that coach has forgotten. And they're busy. They're doing something else and they've just forgotten, right? That's one thing. If I look and we had a full breakdown and I just feel like you gotta, want to get it, have the capacity to do it. If you're not trying, and I can sense if somebody's trying, right? If you're present in your gym, if you're not present in your gym, you'll have no idea. But if you're present in your gym and you can see that someone's trying and they're not intentionally forgetting and they're crushing every other aspect of their job, then sure, right? We're going to keep reminding. But if someone's not crushing everything else and they're just, haphazardly not part of the team and they're not trying to, boost the team as a whole, then you're going to be able to catch on to that. So if you have, absolutely. I would say that there's a big harp on skill versus will.
Okay. So with that too, in skill versus will, let's just keep going with Sally Sue on the bike with t-shirt asks, right? Where would you start with someone who's not asking for t-shirt sales? Is that a skill you can teach?
Yeah, I think that it's almost like when you're coaching in fitness and you say one thing over and over again about a squat, for example, and then you just try and say it in a different way and then it clicks, right? Not everybody learns the same way.
Right.
So I think if you have a coach that's constantly forgetting, make it easier for them to remember. So I would, if the clipboard's being hung up on the wall, maybe have the clipboard closer to them at the end of class. Or, do everything you can to set that coach up for success rather than, like we talked about earlier, just waiting for them to fail. So, be creative in the way that you help your coaches and set them up for success. So that could be, if there's it might be I've literally sat down with a coach and had reminders on their Apple Watch of at the end of every class, they look down, there's a reminder, ask for t-shirts. Get creative on the way that you help your team. Don't just give them a task and watch them fail. Find a way to help them.
I have a feeling so many people are writing notes right now and they are going to their team in the next team meeting and saying, hey, Apple Watch reminders right now about X, Y, and Z.
Use it to your advantage.
I mean, it's great. It's simple. I mean, it even teaches you principles in your real life.
Absolutely.
Forget to take out the trash, Apple reminder, whatever.
Nothing wrong with that.
Use the tools that are at your disposal. Okay, so next layer. So we take unity, we take strategy, we take goal, we show when, we have the how. I think one thing that we're good at is the next layer. And I don't know if you can have one without the other. Actually, I don't know if we can have long-term team members that I think enjoy their job without a relationship with who they work with and just that leadership on an individual motivation, because what we're talking about right now is their bonus structure around strategy. Everybody gets a certain bonus. It can be very transparent. Abbie knows exactly how much each coach can bonus. She can run the numbers and say, hey, if you just do X, Y, Z more, you make this much more.
Right.
So you can use that as a tool, and everybody wants to make more money, whether it's how they receive praise or not. But how do you take that next layer of care? Because ultimately, that's our job, is to care for our clients.
Yeah. So
how do we also do that internally?
Yeah, I think money is such a taboo thing. Not everybody loves to talk about it. And I think, the stigma in fitness is that, that's not people's motivation, right? And I think one thing I had to realize was that money isn't everything, but it's not nothing. Right?
True.
It's not everything. It's not the driver of everything.
It's a measuring stick.
Right, but it's not nothing.
Correct.
I mean, come on. Let's be real here. I mean, we have to keep the lights on, and we have to do. We have to have a baseline, right? So when you think about your teams, and when you think about, let's say you have 3 team members, right? You have 3 coaches, let's say, John is motivated by money, Tim is motivated by praise, and someone else is motivated by food. Who knows?
We have a lot in fitness that are food.
I mean, like,
that's so true.
When I say what you're motivated by, figure that out. Like, figure out what drives your team members.
I wonder if it's, and I'm not trying to but I wonder if motivation is the right word as much as like reinforcement.
Yeah, like
what is it that makes them feel like we're not making them do more, but how do we show them they did well?
Yeah, how do they receive, how do they receive care? So like, if I take somebody who is motivated by praise and I keep throwing in money incentives in their face, they're going to be like, all you care about is money.
Oh yeah, we've
right?
heard that.
Like, all you care about is money, right?
Yep.
And they want to be praised, right? So rather than saying, hey Karen, if you get 10 upgrades this week, you're going to bonus XYZ, like, you're going to get 10 upgrades, and then I'm going to celebrate the heck out of you in our team meeting. And then you're going to feel loved. It's not manipulation. Yeah. It's simply how you want to be praised, right? So if I would really take an account of your team, figure out what what drives them. What's their driver? Is it money? And if it's money, I'm going to pull you aside and I'm going to be like, Karen, if you get 10 upgrades this week, cha-ching, you're going to crush it. But if you're motivated by donuts, for example, I'd be like, dude, Karen, if you get 10 upgrades this week, I'm going to have hero donuts down the street. Like, I'm going to bring in a whole, dozen for you.
I can name 3 people right now who would do anything for
Me
that.
too. And so then I think, what I realized was we would talk to, other gyms, or we'd see it at a conference. The big question is, like, how do I get my team to buy in? Like, people were struggling with that. People were struggling with people.
I don't even think that's just fitness. I think that's business.
Right. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, if you treat it like nothing's going to happen, like, at the end of the day, they just work here, right? You never want to hear that, right? Yeah. If you can find out how your team receives praise, that's going to be what gets them to buy in, right? That no other thing. And don't assume it's money.
Correct.
Because then you're just going to be the person that only thinks about money. It could be so many other things.
But likely money is always involved.
Right. Like I said, it's not nothing.
If somebody gets an offer somewhere else, they're going to consider it.
Right. We all have to pay our bills.
It's both and.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think I wouldn't narrow it down to just money.
Agreed.
I wouldn't set the parameters on money alone. I know somebody in I know one of our coaches who, if you celebrate them in a team meeting, they're set for, however long. Like that's all they needed was to feel appreciated. And I think it's important to take a look at that when you look at your team. And if you have questions about buy-in, really take a look at that for sure.
Well, and I'm going to call you out, you and I know multiple other people. We have really good people, and all you people out there try to hire my people. And you offer them what you think is more money, and sometimes it is. And you've been offered more money before, quite a few times. And what you don't know, she comes straight to me. And doesn't ask for more. But the intangibles are why you continue to stay. And I think you've taken that and created that within your teams. Yeah. Whether it's, I know specifically you have one girl coach that would just come and eat her lunch in your office because you gave her attention. Not even in a needy way, but just...
We're friends.
Yeah, she's present. Yeah. You're present. And being able to invest in people that way is super important.
Yeah, I think to say that, sorry, excuse me, that I'm at Iron Tribe because I couldn't go make money elsewhere. I think we all know that, like, there's areas and there's professions where you can go make a boatload of money. I think you have to find the balance. You have to find the balance of, I want to, I think everybody would say this, I want to make the most money and love my job the most, right?
Balance,
I want a sweet spot of, I want to feel like what I'm doing has purpose. And I think, if you listen to the last episode that we did of it being in insurance, like, sure, there's money in that. But I think also having a love for the job that you have and the people that you're around and things of that nature, that's not something you can replicate easily, right? Everybody thinks they can do it on their own. Newsflash, you can't. And so I think if you have that environment and you have that field that you love with the people that you love, it's really hard to hire away from that.
It is. Thankfully.
Yeah.
Totally.
So if you can create a culture that way, you're going to keep your people.
So, practical tips.
Yeah.
Anybody in business, not just fitness or a gym, right now, what can they do? Because I don't think everybody's self-aware. I interview a lot of people, and if I were to ask them what they're motivated by, I don't know if everyone could honestly answer that immediately. So as a leader, you can ask. I think so. You should ask.
Yeah.
But what other ways can you start to really figure out how your team members are motivated? What are practical things someone could do in the next 90 days to begin to learn their team?
Yeah, I think you could, take them to coffee. I mean, I think take them to coffee. I think that just sitting down with someone and getting to know their background or what they want in the next 5 years. Like, if I were to ask you what you want in the next 5 years and it has anything to do with money, then I know that you're probably motivated by money.
Yeah.
Right?
Or
like,
I want to save for a house.
Yeah, like do you want a house? Yeah, like
yeah.
Do you want a house? Do you want a certain amount in savings? Do you want, all these other things? If you look around and, if you ask them, hey, what do you want in 5 years? And it's, hey, I really want, to feel like what I'm doing has purpose. I really want to feel like I'm changing people's lives. I really want, if they go that route, then it's more so of like, maybe they're motivated by praise. Maybe they're motivated by, celebrating their client's success.
Oh yeah.
So if I
That's overlooked.
Yeah, if I know that, one of our coaches, they really, find joy in their client's success, then like I'm going to celebrate the heck out of their clients on social media, and they're going to see value and purpose in that. So I think it starts with a conversation. It starts with asking the right questions, things of that nature. What do you want? What do you see for yourself in the next 5 years? And then also, I think one thing that I thought was a really good tool was having a list of their preferences, right? So if I gave you a sheet that we start working together, and I'm like, hey, I'd love to get to know you a little bit more. I want to know your favorite candy, your favorite drink, your favorite restaurant, like all these types of things. I mean, I would just love to just tell this real quick.
Go for it.
So I was working here at downtown a couple years ago. I was coaching, and Karen was, kind of helping me in leadership. She was helping me grow. We'd meet once a week, all those types of things. Well, I went to get my hair done, and I'll never forget it. And when my lady looked at me and said, your hair is paid for today, I knew exactly who it was, and she didn't even tell me.
I told her not to tell you.
She actually wouldn't tell me. But like that to me, oh my gosh, it meant so much. It literally meant so much to me that you would take the time to find out who I go to my hair, like who I go get my hair done with, call them, pay for my hair. Like, you don't have to do that, like, go the extra mile for your team. And what that's done, y'all, is like, I have sworn my allegiance to Karen. Like, if you have a team member...
This is recorded. I'm going to hold this against you.
If you have a team member that you really just want to grow and help them, like, invest in them. I'm not meaning financially. I'm not meaning with money. Sure, it was amazing that you paid for my hair appointment. But, like, get to know them and then, like, act on it. And be consistent. That's not the only thing you've ever done for me, right?
Right.
There's so many things. It's the little things. And I would say that, like, you'll never regret doing that for your team. And if they do leave you and they down the road it lines up, I'm the first person to speak for it, they'll come back. They will. And they'll...
Or I have staff members that left that still bring me cupcakes on my birthday.
Absolutely.
And it's not about me, but it's that you become a human in my life, they become a human in your life, not just a team member.
Absolutely. I
mean, you still talk to people who don't even work here.
Absolutely, yeah, all the time.
Yeah, and they love and respect you. So, last thing, the consistency. Because we were poor about that. Again, skeletons in the closet. We'd roll out something and we'd fall off. So, consistency is obviously important. What are practical ways? Again, and I'm going back to practical, but I want people to take notes and put this into play. What are practical ways that they can stay consistent as a leader?
Yeah, I think using the tools that we have to the best of my ability and the systems that we have in place. So we have checklists, we have the things that help us do our jobs right. And I think that when it comes to my team, like I would put a calendar reminder on my calendar, my Google Calendar every Monday. It was like a 5-minute for each of my coaches of like either a check-in or do something nice. Or I think taking time out of my day, and I think one of the things that I've gotten from you that was one of the most valuable things is you got to think to think, right? So like if I have an hour in my day where I'm just planning, right? I'm thinking about how I can serve my team, right? Because we ultimately all want to work together. We all want to be successful. And if I can take care of my team, if I can take care of my, like, these are my people, right? I want to succeed more than anything in the world. And if I can block off time on my calendar, no, I know everybody's busy. Everybody's busy. 5 minutes.
But the effort versus the outcome.
Absolutely.
I mean, did it take me 10, 20 minutes to figure out your hair person, things like that? But the outcome,
Tenfold.
Loyalty, allegiance, forever. I mean, will you get a tattoo about me or anything?
I mean, I'll go right now.
Second child. Nah, I'm just kidding.
We did joke about Cooper's middle name being Michelle.
I'm lost.
Oh, it's okay. So, yeah, I mean, that would be one thing. Google Calendar is, I think, one of the greatest tools you can use. And then it can repeat itself. Like, I can do a calendar reminder every 2 weeks to bring Alex coffee. Like, I can, those are easy things. Like, think to think. If you are able to think for yourself in the future, it's gonna be so much better for you rather than flying by the seat of your pants every single day. And then it's gonna play out so much better for you, I think, in the long run. So, Google Calendar, if it's a sticky note, however you function, those are great tools to remind yourself to take care of the team.
One last thing. I don't even know what your answer will be.
Oh, gosh.
Because I've never even thought about it.
Oh, gosh.
I feel we have a lot of principles within our business. The think to think, being thoughtful, caring for clients. I think we're a very unique business. Not everybody else maybe has to be 8 to 5, maybe a little more HR, maybe a little more strict. But I do think and would like to hear, and if the answer is no, Karen, I was already great, fine. How have any principles within Iron Tribe, the think to think, affected your marriage or your family?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Because our goal would be that our clients, they lose weight and all of a sudden they're a better dad. So I would want to know, do those affect the rest of your life in a positive way?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things I've learned at Iron Tribe just through the leadership is self-reflection and how to, I don't want to say finesse. I would say, I think I've learned at Iron Tribe more than anywhere else how to care about other people, how to go the extra mile to make sure somebody feels seen and feels known. And that's something that you have a pool of 100 to 200 members in your gym that you get to practice on all the time. And so there's areas in my marriage where I get to treat my husband like I can go the extra mile for him. And so I get to know all the things he loves. Yeah. I get to know his favorite restaurants and all those things that you know about your spouse. Seeing day in and day out how positively it affects our clients and our coaches is even more, satisfying in your personal life, in your marriage, and in your relationships. And so being able to transition that over to my personal life has been so much better. I mean, I think, if there's anything I want to be known for, it's known for my family and my marriage and things that matter, really in the long run. And I think that everything I've learned at Iron Tribe has helped me times 10 in my personal life.
That's awesome.
For sure.
It's just sometimes we get stuck on our job takes up so much of our time and it sucks energy from our families, and it does. But are there areas of our job that makes our families better? Right. And I honestly was only thinking that out while you were talking, and you could have been like, no, Karen.
No, and I feel like even then, Sam even feels love from Iron Tribe.
I love Sam.
And our spouses, the employees here at Iron Tribe, our spouses feel loved as well. To be able to have that sense of, community is something special.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing your wisdom.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
This was so fun. I'll have you back in a different shirt next time.
Sounds good.
Because we're going to stop right now. Anything final?
No, I mean, love on your people. I mean, I can't stress that enough. Love on your people, and if you have a buy-in issue, that's where I had to look in the mirror.
Love it. All right. Thanks, Ab.
Yep.